My girlfriend has never one time brought me lasagna. So.
And she never will if you keep talking about her like that.
You never made lasagna?
Look at that face.
It's so easy.
Thank you so much for holding the camera.
You're awesome.
It's so easy.
You're awesome.
I don't like lasagna.
Yeah.
It's so
Lasagna is amazing.
It's
lasagna.
It's one of my favorite like frozen
think-
foods to just put in the oven. From
Yeah, you can just get Stouffer's and say you made it from
amazing. How good is it though?
She's not very Italian though, so I think that's probably her lack of Italian
You can
genes.
throw spinach on it too. It's so easy. It's so good.
Right. So,
really good stuff.
what are your influences that got you into hip hop?
Yeah. Anyway, segue.
So influences. Well, I started listening to rap music when I shouldn't have, when I was like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
And I remember it was just randomly like I came home from school and I was just browsing through the channels, like trying to find something to watch, and then boom, stopped on BET.
Nice.
And it just all went downhill from there.
Oh,
and so I was just like watching all this. It was Rap City on BET, and I would just watch that like the whole time. I was like, wow,
yeah,
this is cool. I didn't even know this existed.
I remember Rap City, 106 and Park, and all that. Yeah, Tiger.
Tigger.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, thank you.
And then the Freestyle Fridays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I watched 106 and Park.
106 and Park.
Yeah.
That
was lit. I was like, yo, man, I didn't even know this all existed. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a 3-6 Mafia mixtape for me. I was living near Nashville at the time, and it had come across through Memphis, and it was a demo tape.
Wow.
That my stepdad gave to me. No, I wish.
I was about to say it's probably worth thousands of dollars.
But it had song. Why not?
Like corn.
And I thought that was the funniest shit I ever heard in my life. I loved it.
For me, it was Ghetto Boys, the Uncut Dope. Yeah, because that whole album.
My mind's playing tricks on me.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually went on tour this past March with this rapper named Mekjian, and we randomly played at a house party that Bushwick Bill was playing.
Whoa!
Yeah. So I technically can say I opened up for Bushwick Bill.
Nice!
Sick, dude.
So randomly. I don't know. The guy who was holding the house party, he just knew a bunch of rappers, and it was in Austin, Texas. And he knew a bunch of the rappers in the scene. It was during South by Southwest. And he just pulled all their money together, and they're like, Bushwick Bill, will you just come play at this house party? And he's like, and the guy's like this small.
Right, yeah.
And it was really weird because Mekjian, he was also a big Ghetto Boys fan. He played his set. He was like, yo, I've been a big Ghetto Boys fan my whole life. I'm super excited Bushwick Bill's playing. Can't wait for him to come on. And then when Bushwick Bill's gonna go on, he goes, I need someone to DJ, but I want Mekjian to DJ. And it's like, what do you mean DJ? Just press play. But I want it to be him, Mekjian, that guy. Just because he said, I've been a Ghetto Boys fan my whole life. So he's like, I know that he knows what I want, so I need him to just come over here, get the Ghetto Boys instrumentals on YouTube and just play them.
Right.
He didn't bring anything. Bushwick Bill did not bring a single
Why would he?
thing. Yeah.
No, he's Bushwick Bill. He ain't got to bring nothing.
He didn't bring a single thing.
He just got to show up and just be like, hey, Bushwick Bill, what's up?
That was it. So Mekjian just opens his laptop and
he lets people know.
All right, yo, I'm DJ Mekjian, and let's get this Ghetto Boys show started. And so he just pulled up the Ghetto Boys instrumentals on YouTube. It was like a whole playlist. And he just hit play, and that was it. Just act like he was DJing.
Bushwick Bill lets people know one thing. He found the Lord, and he laughs, and he ain't no cocksucking pussy.
Exactly.
Those are the things that he needs to let you know.
He did let us know that. It was amazing.
Yeah. What a beast.
Yeah, and he also made a habit of punching on the concrete.
That's right.
While high on Halloween. Yeah, imagine him beating down a dude with his boys, just like, it's like, wait a second, what?
Those guys were a huge influence on one of my big influences in anything that I write, Kid Cudi, man.
Oh, wow,
Kid Cudi, it was a big influence on him.
He was like, I would say the first kind of emotional rapper, the one that like really just opened up about his feelings.
Eminem, Tupac and Eminem and Kid Cudi, and then, Scarface.
Scar's good, man.
I mean, it just depends on what you're looking at.
For sure,
what you define as opening up. But they're all in that category of MCs that are not like trying to put themselves over, like they're just not vulnerable to anything. They really let a vulnerable side.
Right, exactly.
Man, I really appreciate that because that music comes through when you need it, man.
No, for sure, yeah. I remember when I went to go see Kid Cudi live, and that was like an incredible show. It was so good. Everything was super catchy. We were all singing along. Like, it was super fun. Light show was really cool. And then it all just went to shit because Asher Roth came on.
Oh, no. Eminem shredded him up in like one bar.
And then me and my friend Alex, like, it's so funny because like the show was like completely packed, and so me and my friend Alex had to like sneak in to get into the show in Atlanta. And as soon as Asher Roth came on, we're like,
all right, let's go.
Let's just go. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, it's like we came to see what we wanted to see.
Yeah, we didn't even pay for this show, so let's just get out of here.
Yeah,
there you go. And I was like, yo, I just want to hear Life of College just like for a little bit, just a little bit. And like, okay. All right, let's go.
Yeah, you got through the first verse. It's just like, all right, that's it.
Well, you saw what it really was. It was like him, like at the very beginning, because it was like him and Mac Miller were right there, and it was like Mac Miller.
Mac Attack, bro.
I feel like Mac Miller just like had so much more originality.
Oh my God, he was so good.
Asher Roth's mixtapes weren't bad. I was like, yo, these mixtapes are pretty dope. But then when he came out with his original album, I was like, yo, this shit is so whack. Like, it's boring. It's not even good. It's not even catchy. Like,
I think a lot of times when people catch that wave, they're just like, I have to do what they tell me to do completely. You know what I mean? So he was probably on that. I'm about to have to do this to make bread and not really be real.
And you know what's funny is when I was in school in New Orleans, my roommate, he was a sound engineer intern, and there's this big festival in New Orleans called Voodoo Fest.
Yeah.
And Asher Roth played there right before I Left College came out.
Yeah.
And he was like, and what's funny is like, you know, he was still touring even while just putting out mixtapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Vince, my roommate, he's like, yo, Asher Roth came and played at this tent at Voodoo Fest, and like nobody was there. It was like maybe less than like 10 people who randomly showed up. And then all of a sudden, boom, he just blew up like randomly, like within like the next month or something.
Yeah, I Love College comes.
Yeah, well, it was so random.
The torrent, you know, it's kind of like whenever it's like awareness. Awareness is like a faucet. Once the awareness starts going, the torrent starts, and then you either hold on or you get swallowed by it.
Right, exactly.
And I've seen many artists like hold on for the ride, but then there's some that just get swallowed up and become like one hit wonders.
Momentum.
You got to maintain.
Well, with something like what you're doing, right? You've got this niche, personal group that's not like this huge thing. I mean, it is in its own right, but like the nerdcore thing is not as massive as the audience that Asher Roth is trying to push. But they've got, your fans have a loyalty to you.
Only because I have to push it. Like most people I meet when I go to these conventions, stuff like that, they're like, what is this? I'm like, yo, I rap. And they're like, oh, I don't like rap music. I'm like, well, hold on a second there, because this isn't normal rap music. And so once they actually listen to it and I explain it to them, they're like,
okay.
I didn't even know this existed. So most of the time I'm marketing to people who don't even like rap music. They just like shit that grooves. They like really dope beats or something like that. Yeah. Because most of the time they're like, I really like rap music because I don't like the N-word. I'm like, well, today's your lucky day. I don't have to say that. So,
no.
You know, feel free
the content's
to
there without the fillers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's not necessary for me. So, if you want to come check out my stuff, come check it out. And they come check it out and they're like, wow, this is actually pretty dope.
And plus, a lot of people I know who don't like rap music are introduced at the wrong entry points. They're like introduced to like the stuff that's popular, not the stuff that's deep.
Right.
I was introduced to 3 6 Mafia, dude, and that blew my mind. I was like,
there
was so much energy. Because they were trying to produce metal rap, pretty much, is what they were wanting to do.
Yeah, and
insane. It's insane.
Well, if you want some stuff, well, if you want that, go Tech 9.
Yeah.
Especially with like, have you heard that one?
I feel like he was like kind of like the first what they called like alternative rap kind of. Because it was just like so not pop and not mainstream, not old school either.
No, you can uncover some crazy stuff when you start looking for it. Like when you really start looking in. I can't remember his name now; it's escaping me. But
pre-internet days, it was hard.
Yeah, very hard.
There's a cat that influenced 3 6 Mafia with these like really droned out, using horror movie clips from people talking in horror movies, slowed down over some like beats and stuff in the late 80s that inspired 3 6 Mafia coming out of Memphis.
Satan, that's who it was.
Satan, right.
Oh yeah, that
Lucifer
guy.
himself.
Satan, DJ Apocalypse.
I can't believe I forgot who that is. But if you look into the influences of like Juicy J specifically, and like Project Pat, his brother, then you'll find that guy. But it's really interesting because you listen to it, it's like you know how the 80s DJs would be scratching and they would kind of just be playing records and stuff?
Yeah.
He would be creating these little simple beats and then putting it to just like creepy ass, like early 3 6 Mafia style beats. So it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Well, you always want to look for the newer stuff that's coming out. It's just like what you're doing. I mean, down the line may hit a stride and may get more and more popular. And that's just like Epic Rap Battles of History, which I actually know Lloyd from ERB.
Oh no!
Cool guy, man. Cool guy. And it's just like ERB took off, and parody rap and like comedy rap. And it has like their face. Yeah,
who would have thought?
Yeah, exactly.
When I met him, he was not huge.
Right.
And he was such a humble guy, just at a table like you are. Shook hands with him, talked to him about rap for a second, chilled out, and I mean there was no security, it was just him on the rise, man. Now he's a huge name in the business.
Two dudes chilling in a hotel,
sitting
on a couch, and they might be gay.
Was the Ex-Boyfriend song. That was the first one.
That is so funny.
That was the funniest one.
The Lion King one was the first one for me, way back. Yeah.
Way back. But yeah, no, I because like obviously I still like kind of listen to the mainstream just to see what it's like, see what's popular and stuff like that. And I'll take like little snippets of ideas. Like I really like, even though I hate most of the lyricism in mainstream rap these days, I really like the melodies. I like the
flow's
beats,
good.
the flows.
They get the energy. They got the crowd.
Right.
And a lot of those bands are
the catchiness too.
The trap rappers in places are mixing and mingling with the metalheads and the punks, and there's like mosh pits at trap rap shows and stuff now.
Just because they
distort
the bass.
Well, I mean, they have the culture in rap. Like, in a lot of ways, I agree that, underground rap music is in the same vein that old school punk music was when it was underground. And there's a lot of people, even like old school rappers, that are hating on it and pissed. But here are these young kids with attitudes just saying what's on their mind, and if it's stupid to you, then they don't really give a shit.
Right, yeah.
They're just doing what it is that they want to do, regardless who likes it or who agrees with it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty punk rock to me.
I mean, I really thought, like, when Triple X was talking about how he would just took, a little bit of everything that he was influenced by, because he grew up with so many different genres of music, and if you listen to his last album, I mean, it's just a bunch of different genres all mishmashed into one.
Yeah.
And that's because he was, like, really into metal, he was really into, like, R&B, he was really into emo punk rock and power pop and stuff like that, and really into trap rap and old school hip hop, everything. So that's why he just dabbled in everything, and it was like, call it whatever you want,
Well,
what I like.
Yeah, you've drawn all the influence. Actually, the Gorillaz' previous album, not the one that they just released, but the one previous to that.
Plastic Beach?
No, not Plastic Beach. The one after Plastic Beach. It's the one that was their big return. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Obviously, we're big enough. I don't remember.
Well, honestly, I listened to it all the way through. Demon Days is my favorite. Gorillaz album by far.
Like classic.
That to me is like I can listen to that beginning to end and still just like get lost in it.
That's for sure.
And then
anything with Mad Villain on it, I was like,
yes, dude.
And
November has come.
November
Has come. One of my favorite tracks off.
Your sound to the music that you're performing with is just like punchy. Like the Star Wars song's the one that I walked in on. What is it? Something about the down with the dark side.
Dark side taking over.
Dark side taking over.
Yeah.
It was punchy, and that's interesting. Like MF Doom, a lot of the nerdier nerdcore rap that I've heard is more to like the lo-fi hip hop.
Right.
Sound like the chill jazz, and your stuff's not like that. It's kind of in your face, a little bit punchier.
That's what I like.
That separates you from the others that I've heard.
Oh yeah, no. Most of the nerdcore rappers that I've toured with and worked with, they're all about the old school hip hop. Most of them are just like, oh yeah, I like the lo-fi beats and like the old school beats and stuff like that. They all usually make their own beats too. But for me, it was like I'd always been a really big fan of electronic music. And I, started listening to like trip hop and psychedelic hip hop beats and stuff like that, and then like super glitchy electronic music like Glitch Mob. Aphex Twin, old drum and bass and stuff like that. That's pretty much like what I grew up on, like just because I found the internet, That's what really got me into it. So a lot of people would share stuff with me and stuff like that. And I was really into drumming when I started growing up. I was like 9 years old, and like growing up, I really wanted to become a drummer before I decided to become a rapper. And so I would always like try to like all these different electronic beats, and like their drumming was like so complex and complicated because it's all just like algorithms and just randomness almost. So I would take influence from those like heavy electronic beats. And when dubstep came out, I mean that was like the wave, you know, going on back in 2011, 2012, and all of these producers were like remixing all of these old video game themes into dubstep. And
I rapped over them at that time.
Yeah.
Some of the Sonic ones are my favorite.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, that's
also there was a Pac-Man one that was really good too.
Yeah,
I remember
Tetris
doing
one.
that one
There
too.
was Tetris one. And,
Yeah.
you know, I before I even got into the whole nerdcore scene, it was just like I was just kind of like rapping about like I guess it was just kind of like plain hip hop, and I was like trying to make my own beats, and it was like a mix of kind of like it was more like electronica, and just like simple electronic beats, and I would like rap about like like shit like time travel and like robots and ninjas and shit. So I guess it was kind of nerdcore and like shit, and like stuff that I was learning in college, stuff like that, like philosophy and you know, poetry and psychology and stuff like that.
Well, it just comes pouring out of you. I mean,
you're right.
Yeah, all the like when you're young, you have all of these thoughts on your brain.
Politics,
you want to express yourself in some way, and
just everything I was learning in life and stuff like that. You know, because I wasn't really like into the whole mainstream rap culture at the time. I didn't really feel like I lived that life to like that was cool enough to brag about. You know,
I made a lot of songs about smoking weed. It never really amounted to anything.
I mean, I didn't mind
too
smoking
much
weed. I didn't mind smoking weed, but it was like, who makes a song about not minding smoking weed? You know, sometimes, every now and then, I'll smoke some weed when I feel like it, or when I cannot sleep. You know, like
when I'm feeling like shit, and I'm trying to eat.
But not every week. Everything in moderation. You know, like that's not cool. So
no.
I think that was a pretty cool song.
And then of course you have ones that are contemplated, like Kendrick Lamar's Swimming Pools, because you know Swimming Pool, it's about him, like, you know, the allure of alcohol and everything.
Right.
You know, him being like pressured in, like him just sitting there like nursing 1 or 2 shots. And then all of a sudden, here comes a friend. He's just like, he's like, why are you only sipping on 2 or 3 shots? Let me show you how to turn up a notch. Take a swimming pool full of liquor and you dive in it. Right. And it's like the pressure of like trying to be cool, like by doing that and everything.
Right.
And instead, I think the reality is a lot of people who, you know, preach that lifestyle and everything aren't actually like that.
Oh no.
A lot of them are like down to earth and like actually just want to make music and make, you know, and just like have
Lil
fun.
Wayne did a lot of damage. Lil Wayne did a lot of damage as far as like the appeal of being a junkie.
Yeah.
He really tried to popularize that image, especially like when you're talking about, I was involved in rap and hip hop pretty heavily in 2010, 11, 12, 13, and then he started edging off. But during that time, it was all about lean, all about drinking, smoking, and just being as trash as possible.
Which will kill you.
Yes,
all of which is a terrible.
Like honestly, the only way weed's gonna kill you is if somebody drops out of a plane and that hits you on the head.
He's talking about, you know, being blocked behind Xanax bars, and it's like, you know, you can OD on that. Like,
A lot of my friends, you know, got trapped in that lifestyle, man. I only know one of them that drugged themselves out of it, and it took prison to do that.
Right.
And the other ones, you know, his girlfriend at the time that he was with, she passed away like a couple of weeks ago from an overdose.
Wait,
yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay, man.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of damage done by that whole attitude.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
All right, I agree, and that's just like a life that I really like was never even about or into. And what's funny is that, you know, I actually went to college with G-Eazy, and he sat next to me in accounting class, and we also took contemporary ensemble class where we covered Rage Against the Machine.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool, and it was like just talking to him back in the early days. It's like he was like super quiet. He barely said anything. He asked him questions like yes or no. That was pretty much it. Like, he was very like just kept to himself most of the time, and he would just finish his schoolwork, go home, and then work on beats and raps. And like that's all he did. He hardly ever went out. He only would go out to play his shows, and like, you know, that was pretty much it. But it's like half the time when I hear his raps, I'm like, that is not the guy I spoke to. Like, that doesn't match up.
A lot of
with
these
the
guys
guy
end up having to live that life later when they're like, this is what I put out there, and now I gotta live it.
Right. Well, they
Now I
get
gotta walk
caught
the
up
talk.
in it in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
They get offered it. They like, you know, like eventually, you know, he went back to California and started living that life in Hollywood and everything like that. So he blew up, sure, but then it's like one of my rapper friends texted me. He was like, "Yo, your boy G-Eazy just got booked for cocaine." I was like, "What? He never did that in college. What is happening to my boy?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. But it's like, you know, now he's like huge. So it's like, well, he's going to be surrounded by that. He's going to be offered it. He's going to be at the scene. So
the pressures I could never imagine. Like given where
come
I'm
on, man, be cool, man.
Yeah. It's like,
you're a rapper, aren't
it's
you?
like they want you. It's like they want you to do it so that they can have something on you. It's like try and like lord over you. Just it's like you want some more cocaine, man? It's like you don't want more cocaine.
Well, in a way, it's like they rap about that life, and then if they're not, they don't live it. It's like someone's gonna think, what the hell? You rap about this shit all the time.
Right.
Like, why don't you walk the talk, man? Why don't you get it?
But even somebody like Eminem, the shit he would talk about doing, he did it satirically.
Right.
You know, I'm doing this and smacking a bitch on the way to fall down on the floor. You
Right.
know, just crazy shit. And you're like,
a comedic
man,
sense
he's
almost.
talked about that the same verses he was talking about being a serial killer and hanging up
Right.
children by their toes in the hallways or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like it's bullshit. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But then you got like Lil Wayne, like this is what makes me God, because I can fuck all these bitches,
I like
sell all
cough
these
syrup.
drugs, and yeah.
Because I always got a cough.
So I mean, you're looking at dimensions into the psychological
Right.
part of rap, because you get a rush when you listen to rap music. It gets me hot. I don't know about y'all, but I can feel the soul in the music, whether it's a good or bad one.
Right.
And sometimes that bad one's fun. You
Yeah.
know, when I say weak ass, you say bitch. You know, 3 6 Mafia. Listen to that before a basketball game or something. You're gonna be hopped, and it's fun. But whenever you're constantly listening to like the Little White dude,
Right, yeah.
you know, and talking about Xanax bars, Oxycontin, what you need, what you want. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need for people to start raising their fucking kids and stop worrying about snorting pills. That's what I need. That's what I
Brush your
want.
teeth.
You know,
Good job.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, don't fuck around. Be a stand-up individual.
Dale the funky
STDs do
homo
exist.
sapien. Wash your ass.
Actually, Aubrey Plaza, she actually did it kind of good. She's like, you know, I hear all these rap songs talking about like, you know, wanting a hoe to like get down on the ground and clap that booty. Me, I just want to write a song that's just like, boy, brush your teeth.
Right, but see,
pull your pants up.
The thing is, it's like that's so cheesy though.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
the
Well,
thing.
she's like, I know this sucks, but honestly, I just want something else out there.
Right, so it's like you have to kind of like play to the controversy or play the deviancy or play to the what's like deemed like, you know, wrong or bad in society in order to actually get people to talk about it in some way.
It's true.
But it's just like, I was just never about that life. It's like, I don't think I could genuinely even rap about it. So I was just like rapping about other shit. And then the only reason I got into nerdcore was just like randomly, I found a dubstep remix of Zelda. And I was like rapping about all these other dubstep beats and just like, you know, whatever was in my imagination and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, this Zelda remix is dope. And like, you know, it'd be really funny and it'd be really cool if I rapped about Zelda just randomly. And so I had no idea that like the internet would freaking love that. Like they're like not only like, yo, not only is it a rap about Zelda, but it's a rap about Zelda over a Zelda remix. Not only is it a remix of Zelda, it's a dubstep remix about Zelda with a rap about Zelda. What? It's like Inception of Zelda. So I had no idea that like, oh, I'm just gonna put this on the internet and, you know, we'll see where it goes. That it would just like start just like climbing
There you go.
on YouTube because it's just never, it exists. Nothing like that has existed before.
Yeah.
So I just had no idea that that could be a thing. So what happened after that was just like a whole snowball effect. I just kept getting all these emails from dubstep producers. Like, yo, you gotta rap on this remix. You gotta check out this remix of that. Like, you wanna rap on this? I'm like, dude, hell yes, this is all
Right.
Producers
freaking
coming out
amazing.
the woodwork.
Exactly.
Just want to work with you, yeah.
And so it's just been that momentum ever since. And now I think honestly, it's so much easier to work with trap beats than it is with dubstep beats.
I love the trap beats.
Me too. And so
I love it.
I'm like so glad it's popular, and because it's like so much it's like technical wise, it's so much easier to mix vocals with.
Yeah.
As opposed to dubstep is like super loud, it's in your face. It's like there's hardly any room for vocals almost. It's
Right.
like you really have to like tweak it to.
I've tried it in the past, and it's
Yeah.
extremely difficult.
It really is because
Yeah.
all those frequencies are just clashing with vocals.
But they're so. It's almost.
It's hype.
It's almost. Yeah. It's almost like a trap in a way, because it sneaks you in by feeling like the emotion that it gives you,
Right.
and then you try to add to it, and you're like, I'm not going to be able to compete with this. You know, the feeling of the beat is just weighed down by my vocals unless you can do it right like you do.
You really have to put a lot of energy.
You do a very good job with that.
Hey, thank you. That's what I try.
And you have to change your rhyme scheme and stuff a lot. I noticed in your songs, it's like, oh, I'm going to this pattern. I got to switch to this pattern, and to stay with what's going on in the song, but it's seamless. You were doing it seamlessly.
Thank you.
It sounded completely like it should fit.
I try to blend all the flows together somehow in some way.
It's hard to flow on that, right?
Right, it is, and it's just like, because usually it's dubstep is a little repetitive, so it's like you gotta like figure out how you want, you know, to change up the flows and stuff like that. You gotta like make your own instrument in a way. And so I think from learning from like drumming and stuff like that, I've always been into the whole different rhythms and complex stuff, and so you know, and Eminem was a big influence on that as well, obviously. So it's like, you know, I like putting different flows in the songs and stuff like that, so it didn't matter, you know, where it's at. But yeah, and then now that traps have come out, and it's like now there's just trap remixes of everything that I like too. Now it's trap remixes of all the video game and stuff I like, and the anime stuff I like. So it just works out so much easier. It's so much easier mixed with. It's dope. And now I work with producers who like, you know, who were doing the whole like dance EDM thing back in the day, who are now making trap. So then they kind of mix a little bit of elements in it to like match that hype energy, because they know I like to go metal, they know I like to go ham, they know I like to like get the crowd going with those kind of songs. So they kind of build. It's like I'm so glad I've gotten to a level where it's like I can just tell producer, I'm like, yo, you need to make a song like this, and they're like, okay, here you go. Sweet, thank you. I appreciate that. Like that's when you know, like, man, you're getting somewhere. If like an incredibly talented producer will just make something especially for you to work with. So nowadays, what I figured out is, you know, back in the day, I was just putting out all the tracks for free. You know, just free download, share it, you know, do whatever you want with it. But I realized it was like shortly in the middle of my career that there are companies that like will license, you know, soundtracks and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I did not know that. That could be pretty nifty. Yeah. So what I started doing was when I started getting into making beats myself more and learned like that whole Star Wars thing. I produced all of that myself.
That's awesome.
That was all me. And so I tried to learn how to match that kind of electronic vibe that I wanted and that dubstep vibe and stuff like that. And I even would take the soundtracks I wanted, and I learned how to orchestrate them all and put them all in the layers and everything. And then I would send it to the licensing company, and they would like, okay, we got the license, now we can sell it on iTunes, sell it on Spotify, you're all good to go. Like, sweet. So now I don't have time for that. I don't have time to do all that. That is a lot. That's so much time to produce the beat, and then you gotta rap it, and you gotta mix it, and then you gotta master it, and then you gotta shoot the video, you gotta edit the video, you gotta render the video, you gotta put the video out, you gotta make sure the thumbnail's dope, you gotta put it at the right time and place, you gotta make sure the collaborators are all good, you gotta set up the contract, you gotta let the distributor know, you gotta wait for the distribution to put it out. I mean, it's just way too time consuming. And I was like, yo, I need to delineate this shit, and I need to find producers who specialize in actually making dope beats. So now I'm at a point where it's like, now I've got a whole like army of producers who just want to make stuff for me, and it's so dope. And then now I have a whole army of composers who are just like, yeah, give me whatever soundtrack you want. I'll recompose it and everything in the original sounds. That way, you know, because you can't, if you sample it, you usually can't monetize it unless you pay like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's.
But if you just cover it and make your own original sounds, they just get a cut of a royalty. That's it.
Yeah, so, the sharing and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sharing.
Because like you have to pay like so much up front just for like a sample and stuff like that, and they keep paying like that every single freaking year. So that's why a lot of record labels and mainstream artists can get away with sampling, because it's just like, how much do you want?
Yeah,
we got the budget. So what do you want? But it's like, no, man, I rap about anime. I got a budget like that. So, you know, so I take the composer stuff, and then I give all the stems to the producer, and they're like, this is so dope. Oh my God, I'll make a dope remix out of this. They remix it, send it to me, I rap on it, put on the distribution, we split the royalties, everything's all good. So that's why I only just, in the past like maybe like 2 years, have I finally been able to like sustain like a good career and actually like monetize all these remixes and stuff that everybody's been like sampling and stuff like that.
Instead of just shows from money from shows.
Yeah, and like YouTube ad revenue and stuff like that. So it's just like making it so much easier now, because I was like, man, why wasn't I doing this before, like back in 2010?
So what's next? You're up to that level. What's the next step in the game? How are you taking a leap forward next?
I think what I really want to do is reach out to bigger and bigger rappers, like nerdcore or not. And it's because I know like a lot of even mainstream rappers who are like, or they're into anime.
Exactly, yeah.
They're into the video game scene. And it's like they could think what I'm doing is cheesy or not or cringy, whatever. I don't give a shit. But it's like I know there's gonna be a rapper out there who's like, yo, this is so dope. Or even people who don't rap, who just like maybe do it on the side, but like, yo, I've always wanted to do a rap song, even though I just made really popular podcasts. Or something.
I would absolutely love to be on one of your songs.
Oh yeah, that's seriously. I'm totally down for that. You know.
Yeah, Nate, he can spit.
No,
don't let him
nowhere near this cat. No.
He can spit.
No.
Don't let him.
As long as the talent matches, that's totally cool. Like,
yeah,
whatever
for
works.
sure.
Like, I don't care how big of or small of an audience anyone's got. As long as they've got the talent to back it up, I'm totally down for it. You know, because I want to make something good. I don't care about it being popular. Because whatever I'm going to make is going to be popular. I'm going to put that out there for my audience, my fans, and they're going to make it popular. But it's just got to be good. It's got to be dope.
Yeah.
So I think that my next step is like working with people who, you know, whether they have a big audience or not, it's just getting those like kind of collabs and stuff like that in. So that's one thing. And it's like, you know, a lot of people tell me like, yo, sometimes I hear like you take like, you know, like it almost sounds like you take like Post Malone influences in some of your songs. I'm like, or you take some of those triplet flows and stuff like that, those rap flows. Like your shit could be like mainstream almost in a way. And it's like maybe I could try for like something more like pop or something more trap, like, you know, the way kind of like Rich Brian does and stuff like that. I don't know, like, you know, I could try it, but it's like I'm just not like, I'm still not living that life. I'm still not.
Right.
I don't really genuinely feel like I could come up with anything clever for that. It's like I really have to sit down and try. But when it comes to like anime and video games and like the nerdcore scene, it's like for some reason like it's just so easy for me to just like dole something out and like think of something clever for it, and it's like it just flows so much better. It's like, yo, I want you to make a song about, you know, twerking and bitches and like partying. It's like, okay.
Just not who you are.
Yeah, it's not in the wheelhouse.
I've been to a party in like I don't know how many years. Let me think. What happened at that party? There was. How do I know?
So how can people find you? Where are you at online, and what's up next? Where are you gonna be at?
Well, I go by NoneLikeJoshua. You can find me mainly on YouTube, where I got my whole start, and then from there I'm on Spotify and iTunes and all that as well. And, but everything you'll find is on YouTube and SoundCloud. It's all there. Check out my mixtape, bro. It's dope.
Awesome. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Oh, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that too. If you want to, you know, see my face.
We'll have all this linked in the description down below, guys.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Feel free to check that out.
None like this guy.
Yeah.
None like Joshua. Hey, how you
He's out here killing it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
It's been
Appreciate
great.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.